Hey everybody, Aaron J. Anderson here, and this is just the next video with the same setup because I got the time to do 2 videos today. This video is about the Tamron, what is it, 28 to 75 f2.8 versus the Sony 24 to 105 f4 lens. That's what I'm using now. Which lens is better? Well, I was doing some comparisons and putting them up on social media, so I thought I would share this with you guys and just put my input. There's tons of videos showing you corner sharpness and vignetting and all that stuff, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show you why I chose the Sony 24 to 105. Now, if you follow me on social media, you're going to probably see these already, but I'll put these up, but they're just reminders. Now, this was the very first test I did with the 2 lenses, and what I don't get with the Tamron, but what I do get with the Sony is compression. As you can see, you know, zoomed into 105 opposed to 75, and using my feet to compose to keep everything the same, you can see that that lamp is like twice as large, meaning you're getting a lot more compression, and I like compression. Not only does your model is going to look better with that extra compression, but you can bring things in the back closer or just get rid of more clutter, and for me, that is one of the main points why I went with the 24 to 105, sorry. Okay. And then here's the next one, because people would say, yeah, but the f2.8 has, you know, shallower depth of field. Well, it doesn't, or it's just so close I can't tell. And this is actually a sharpness test as well. And, you know, everybody's saying that Tamron's really sharp. It's almost close to the G Master, but this, I would have to say, is the same. When I would do some sharpness tests between the Tamron and the Sony lens, I couldn't see a difference. And man, I tell you what, sometimes I thought the Sony looked sharper, and that's not because I like it. It's just because that's what my eyes were to see, but it was so close that the sharpness wouldn't push me for one lens over the other at all. That compression would push me way more than the sharpness, because they're both really sharp. So as far as sharpness, it's not there. As far as shallow depth of field is concerned, when you're at 105 millimeter at an f4 and you're at 75 millimeter at 2.8, I mean, the depth of field is so similar, as you can see in these. Of course, the compression is going to be more on the 105, and that's maybe why you're being perceived to be a little more blurrier, but it's good enough for me. It's like, you know, I'd rather have that compression and 24 millimeters opposed to 28, and when I'm getting the same sharpness and the same shallow depth of field, basically. Let's go to the next one. Here's just another test real quick of the compression that you get. This is the 75 millimeters. You could see you got the Eiffel Tower here, and by zooming into 105 on this one, and then I don't know, maybe I didn't step back on this one. I just zoomed in, and that's what you get, the compression and all that goodness. So that, and this here's just another sharpness test. They look the same to me. I mean, this is a full res photo, and I can't tell the difference in sharpness on either one of these. And I would have to say the Sony looks a tad sharper, but it's whatever. And then, okay, so that's the main thing. Now, the other thing I wanted the Tamron for was the close focus distance, because I do a lot of jewelry photography and other product photography. I do more portraits and stuff, but hey, if you want to hire me to do, you know, anything else, I'll do other photography. But I was thinking I could keep that Tamron lens on, never have to take it off, but you know, you just can't get close enough to do a proper ring shot where you could really fill the frame up, and neither one of those lenses will do that. Now the Tamron, you have to zoom all the way wide and to let you get close, and that's going to distort the product, and you don't want to do that. So you want to shoot at least at 50 millimeters to minimize distorting. So either one of those lenses isn't going to work for me for close focus, so I'm going to have to get like extension tubes anyways, which we'll go into another day. But that's what this test here is on. Both of these have nice close focus distance, enough to do product photography of, if you know what a Sinex box size is, it's like that. You could do product photography all day with either one, but they're both going to need extension tubes, so that, you know, I don't need the Tamron for that purpose. The other thing before I forget, as far as f2.8, oh, and I just did a size video on my G9 and Sony a7 III. If you think that this is heavier than the Tamron, look at that. I mean, they're almost exactly the same size. You know, the girth is I mean, wherever that Tamron will fit in your bag, the Sony will also fit. Now the Sony is heavier, but again, you're getting more focal length on the back end and on the front end, and image stabilization and all that stuff. So its size wasn't really a matter difference to me. Here's just another shallow depth of field. Now I took this at 105 and 75, and then I cropped the 75 to match the 105. Shallow depth of field looks nearly identical, so there's no reason one or the other, f2.8 or f4, you know, because of the focal length. And I know I'm rushing through this because I just want to get through it. Don't want to bore you guys. The other thing is, well, what about low light? Well, when you have an f2.8 opposed to an f4, so if I'm shooting a scene and I'm at an f4 and I find like there's just not enough light in here, I'm way too high up on the ISO, or f4 isn't helping, I need something faster. Well, if you thought, well, I'm glad I bought the f2.8, in that situation, with the ISO, the crazy ISO of this camera, an f2.8 is not going to save you in that. You're going to either need an f1.8 or faster, and of course, situations can vary widely, so, you know, with a grain of salt there, but you're going to need flash or something. So one stop of light isn't enough for me to go with that, when that's really the only thing it has for me that was another deciding factor. So that's it, guys. If you want more technical details on these lenses, there's just so many more to go look at, other videos to go look at, but that's my reasoning why I like the Sony 24 to 105 f4. And let me tell you, it is very liberating to be able to have the Sony a7 III and this lens, where I just grab that camera and I've got 24 to 105 f4 good low light photography or video. It's amazing, guys. The other thing is, to make up for that stop of light, is this lens has image stabilization, which works with the body image stabilization. So you can easily make up for that one stop of light by just slowing your shutter speed down if you're shooting you know, non-moving objects. Like if you're in a very abandoned warehouse shooting a model and you didn't bring flash because you don't want to, you want to do natural light, f2.4 is not much of a big deal because you can just slow that shutter speed down with the image stabilization that this lens and body has. And if you're doing a model, you just tell her, hey, pose, put your chin up, look that way, okay, bend your knee a little bit, okay, now stay right there, and you're telling them to, you know, to stay still anyways to get the shot. So I don't see the one stop of light being an issue. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Bye.